All right, Congressman Lawler, thanks so much for taking the time to do this. I know things are really busy up on the Hill this week in particular. First, let's obviously start with the conflict in Iran. We've heard some differing accounts as to how to describe this. We've heard the speaker yesterday not declaring it a war by his standards. We've heard the administration flying confluence to that. What do you consider it?
Look, it is a conflict, and there's no question. Iran has been at war with the United States for 47 years. These are the same folks who chant death to America every time they wake up. So the fact is that action was taken by the president, by the Department of War, to conduct intensive military strikes against Iran's naval fleet, against its ballistic missiles program, and military targets. And Israel, in cooperation, has taken strikes against the IRGC leadership and the clerical leadership of the country, eliminating the threat. And so I think as you look at this conflict, as it is, 5 days underway. This is very mission specific, and based on the brief that we were given yesterday, they are meeting the mission.
Is that an issue if you're calling it a conflict and the administration's calling it a war?
No, I'm not concerned about what it's called. The reality is they are well within their authorities to conduct these strikes. The fact is they have notified Congress. We received classified briefings yesterday on the mission, and will continue to engage the administration as the mission continues underway.
The idea of it being an imminent threat, I think you just kind of alluded that there's been a threat for 47 years. Is that really realistic?
Look, the situation is such that had action not been taken, it would be almost impossible to defeat the ambitions of the Ayatollah and the regime when it comes to nuclear weapons. I'm not going to get too deep into it because of the classified nature of the brief, but the fact is that their ballistic missiles program was an imminent threat to our ability to defend not only our interests in the region, including our military bases, but our allies. And so a decision was made after extensive negotiations that revealed very simply that Iran was not going to negotiate in good faith. They were not going to give up their ballistic missiles program. They were not going to stop their financing of terrorism. They were continuing to pursue their nuclear ambitions. And we just saw weeks ago the oppression and slaughtering of tens of thousands of their own people in the street. Most of my colleagues have repeatedly said that Iran could not have a nuclear weapon. And the bottom line is President Trump took decisive action to ensure that never happens.
You believe that this president acted it within his authority to do this.
Mhm.
I do want to ask about the messaging and the communication to the American people at the same time. We've even heard Secretary Rubio already say this week, well, we thought Israel was going to attack Iran and not Iran was going to then come back the other direction at us. And that was the threat. And then the next day say, well, that's not the case. I'm just, and then earlier, just moments ago, Caroline Leavitt in the White House had a bit of a different take on that. The communication is my question. Are you okay with how it's been communicated so far?
Look, people can sit here and parse words and try to decipher. The bottom line is the United States and Israel and our Arab partners are working together. Our Arab partners are under attack from a belligerent Iran. We've seen that in their response. And so ultimately, a decision was made to take action in advance of any strike by Iran. And the reality of any type of military operation is you're not going to sit and wait around to get hit first. So, at the end of the day, I'm not concerned about the media or others sitting here trying to parse words. The fact is, the decision was made to end this threat and to eliminate their ballistic missiles capabilities and their naval fleet. And you're seeing that in real time, and I support it.
In terms of the timeline of all this, it has been a bit open-ended. We've heard the 4 weeks, but we also heard the president over the weekend, or maybe earlier this week it was, say, well, what we'll do is what we have as long as it takes. At what point should Congress then authorize that if it's going, if potentially boots on the ground would be on the table?
Well, so a few things. Number one, under Article 2, the president has the authority to conduct these strikes. Number two, the War Powers Act requires Congress to be notified within 48 hours of a strike. They were notified in advance. They got official written notification within the 48 hours and a congressional brief on day four. So Congress has been fully informed about what is happening here. In the event that this military action, goes 60 days, which is in keeping with the War Powers Act and War Powers Resolution, then I think that is something that Congress would have to weigh next steps. But I think the effort by some of my colleagues, and in particular Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna, to try and call for an immediate withdrawal of U.S. troops is not only undermining national security, it actually puts our troops in harm's way and will create a very dangerous situation for our military, with our bases that are in the region, as well as with respect to our allies. So the decision was made. The president needs to be able to, as commander in chief, operate this war with the Department of War. And Congress needs to work with the administration and not and frankly stop playing politics in the middle of a situation that is directly tied to our national security and the safety of our men and women in uniform.
As for what's next, we had a similar conversation about Venezuela a couple months ago now. You heard the president say, well, the people of Iran, it's time to go take your government back. How does that work? We look through history, and obviously that's been referenced the last few days as well as not working so well. What do you know that maybe is looking at like moving forward here?
Look, I'm not going to dive too deep into this right now. We're in the middle of a military operation. There's not going to be a regime change in the middle of a military operation. The reality is, you're going to have stability on the ground. You're going to have a situation where the threat is fully eliminated, which is what they are focused on at the moment. Obviously, from my vantage point, I would like to see the Iranian people rise up and take their country back. It's been 47 years of tyranny and terrorism and oppression. So we want them to be able to do that. And the question will ultimately become, how is that effectuated? And how, in fact, are they able to have some type of representative government? Because what they have right now, obviously, is not that. Similar to Venezuela, you need stability. The administration is working with the current regime. And my hope is that you will have a democratic election. Venezuela has proven it is capable of holding an election. The question, of course, is whether or not it honors the outcome. It did not previously. I believe as part of these negotiations, you will get a free and fair election in Venezuela, which is a positive step forward.
Following the strikes, you called for the passage of the DHS funding, and obviously that's been in limbo. I presented that to one of your colleagues, Pat Ryan, earlier this week, obviously on the other side of the aisle. He says right now, because of the other appropriations recently, the DHS has plenty of funding and that they're going to continue to hold the line on that issue. What do you make of that?
Well, I just strongly disagree. The fact is, ICE is fully funded through 2029. So this notion somehow that they are going to change that by withholding funds to every other aspect of DHS is idiotic. DHS was formed after the events of 9/11, and it was formed to ensure greater cooperation and coordination to protect the homeland. And right now, you have the Coast Guard, you have FEMA, you have TSA, you have the Secret Service not being funded. That is insane. It is foolish. And it will cause irreparable harm to the country. God forbid something happen. So I think it is imperative that all of my colleagues recognize while there are issues to negotiate, there are policy differences, there are things that can be done working with the administration to address concerns about how ICE is enforcing immigration law. Withholding funding from all these other agencies, including the Coast Guard right now, is off the coast of Iran. And having them not be funded, from my standpoint, is insane.
And finally, here on more of a broader scale, I think some of the opposition has come as well when people talk about affordability. Obviously, it's been a major issue in the last few years, at the very least. And people saying, well, why are we spending our money for this when we need to invest it back home? What's your response to those concerns?
Well, we are investing at home and we are moving the economy in a better direction. Under Joe Biden, we saw purchasing power go down between $3,000 to $4,000 per household. We've already cut that in half. We delivered the single largest tax cut in American history, including lifting the cap on salt, which is putting money directly back in the pockets of the American people. The average New Yorker is going to see a $4,000 tax cut. Gasoline prices are down from where they were under Joe Biden. Grocery costs are coming down, but more needs to be done. Inflation is down significantly from where it was under Joe Biden. So there's a lot of work ahead, and I am fully committed and focused to that. But we have to ensure the safety and well-being of our country, and working with our allies, eliminate the threats posed by bad actors, and in particular, the unholy alliance between Iran, China, Russia, Venezuela, North Korea, and others who seek to undermine and destabilize the US, Europe, Israel, and the free world. You don't have economic growth if you have instability around the globe. And that is something that we are seeking to dismantle piece by piece. You saw Maduro removed. You see what is happening right now in Iran. Russia is isolated. China right now is sitting tight. And the bottom line is you have to eliminate the threats. And from a federal standpoint, we have to be able to handle both economic challenges and foreign policy challenges at the same time.
I will also push back on that a bit because Donald Trump did campaign on no more wars. And I think that is something also people have brought up of why are we engaging ourselves in conflicts like this?
No, what he campaigned on was no more forever wars, and that does not mean that you don't use military, strikes when necessary. He has shown he's willing to do that to eliminate threats, whether it was the Iran nuclear strikes last summer, whether it is removing ISIS terrorists from the battlefield. You have to be willing to use military force if you are going to keep peace and stability around the globe. Otherwise, you will be mired in these conflicts because, as we saw under Joe Biden, you saw with the disastrous withdrawal of Afghanistan, you saw the terrorist attack on Israel, you saw the Russian invasion of Ukraine. When you are weak, bad things happen.
Congressman Lawler, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.